Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're kicking things off with a topic that's just getting more and more relevant: basic prompt engineering.
Yeah, specifically for generative AI.
Exactly. For those times you're using ChatGPT or maybe Gemini or Claude, and you just think, I'm not asking this right.
Uh-huh. That's precisely what we're digging into. Think of this as, well, basic prompt engineering with AI lesson one. We're laying the groundwork.
Groundwork for getting better answers, right?
Absolutely. How to craft those prompts, those questions you ask the AI so you actually get what you need.
It feels like such a key skill now, almost like learning a new way to communicate.
It really is. Whether you want, I don't know, creative text or quick summary or just help brainstorming.
So today we'll cover the fundamentals, why it's important, and some basic techniques you can use straight away.
Right. And we're drawing from a couple of handy resources. There's a free beginner's guide to AI and prompt engineering, really good for making AI less mysterious. And also a YouTube video, Introduction to Prompt Engineering, which hammers home that idea of, garbage in, garbage out.
Ah, the classic phrase. Makes sense. If you ask poorly.
You get a poor answer. Clear prompts are just essential.
Okay, let's dive in that. What is prompt engineering exactly? Like in simple terms.
So basically, it's the skill, maybe even the art, of writing good prompts.
Prompts being the instructions.
Yeah, the instructions are the questions you feed into these generative AI models like ChatGPT for text or DALL-E for images.
To get the output you want.
Precisely. It's about knowing how to ask.
So it's definitely more involved than just typing a random question.
Oh, much more. The quality of the AI's response. It directly hinges on how clear, how detailed, and, well, how structured your prompt is.
Structure matters too, huh?
It does. That YouTube video had a great analogy, comparing the person writing the prompt to a conductor leading an orchestra.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, better instructions from the conductor.
Better music from the orchestra. Or better output from the AI. Makes it feel quite active, not just passive requesting.
Exactly. It's active guidance. Prompt engineering isn't just writing the first thing that comes to mind. It involves refining it, tweaking it, optimizing based on what the AI gives you back.
So it's a bit of a cycle.
A definite cycle. And interestingly, it's actually becoming a real job. That very Bulimia Kulu article mentioned prompt engineers earning pretty good salaries.
Wow. Without needing to be like a super coder.
For a lot of it, yeah. Especially the fundamentals we're talking about today. It's more about clear thinking and understanding language, really.
Okay, so why is it so important that if these AIs are so smart, why can't they just figure out what we mean?
That's a great question. They are incredibly powerful, no doubt. But even their creators sometimes find it tricky to get the exact output they want.
Especially for complex things.
Exactly. Or subjective things. The very Bulimi Okulu article had a neat comparison, asking a simple math question like, what's 4 plus 4? In Turkish, that's easy for the AI.
You can see the answer 8.
Right. But contrast that with a prompt designed for someone practicing English.
How so?
Well, a vague prompt like, correct my paragraph, in Turkish, gets you, well, a corrected paragraph, maybe.
Okay.
But a detailed prompt like, act as a spoken English teacher, I'll speak English, you reply in English to help me practice. Keep replies under 100 words, correct my grammar, and always ask me a question. See the difference?
Oh, completely. That's much more specific. It tells the AI its role, the constraints, everything.
Exactly. You're giving it context and clear instructions, and that unlocks its potential way beyond just simple Q&A. You can really tailor it to your needs.
Okay, so getting good at this lets you get more out of these tools for everyday stuff.
Precisely. So let's talk structure. What do these prompts actually look like? The basic building blocks.
Yeah, let's get into the nuts and bolts.
Okay. So one of the guides we looked at, from dare.ai, points out the most standard formats are pretty simple, either just a question.
Like, what is the capital of France?
Exactly. Or an instruction.
Summarize this text.
Perfect. You can also use a question answering format, which looks like Q, question A. The AI then fills in the A.
Right, okay. Simple enough to start.
That's the base level. Now, something called zero-shot prompting is interesting.
Zero shot. Sounds technical.
Not really. It just means you ask the model something directly without giving it any examples of the answer format beforehand.
So you're relying purely on its existing training.
Exactly. It uses its built-in knowledge. Large language models are pretty good at this for many tasks, but how well it works depends on the task's complexity and the training data.
Can you give a quick example?
Sure. You could prompt it. What is the sentiment of the following sentence? This is a fantastic product.
And you'd expect it to say.
Positive, or maybe negative if the sentence was different. It just analyzes based on its understanding.
Got it. Ask correctly, see what happens based on its knowledge. So, okay, beyond just the question or instruction, what else can we put in a prompt?
Good question. A really effective prompt often has a few key parts. There's the main instruction or question, obviously.
The core request.
Right. Then, context. This is background info that helps the AI understand the why or the setting.
Like telling it who the summary is for.
Could be, yeah. Then you might have specific inputs, the actual data you want it to work on, like the text to summarize.
Okay.
And finally, and this is important, examples, showing the AI what a good answer looks like.
Ah, examples. That sounds really useful, like giving it a template.
It really is. And that leads nicely into something called shot-based prompting. We won't go super deep today, but it's worth knowing about.
Okay, just a taste.
Just a taste. The main idea is few-shot prompting. This means you include a few examples of the task, question, and answer right there in your prompt.
So you're showing it, here's a question like mine, and here's the kind of answer I want.
Exactly. You give it maybe 2 or 3 demonstrations. The DART-AI guide calls this in-context learning. The model learns how to do the task from those examples you just gave it.
That sounds powerful for more complex stuff.
It can definitely boost accuracy, especially if the task is a bit niche.
Okay, so we understand what it is, why it matters, the basic formats, key parts like context and examples,
Yeah.
and this idea of zero shot versus few shot. Let's get practical. What are some immediate tips for writing better prompts for beginners?
Great place to focus.
Yep.
Both guides had good, actionable advice. Tip number 1, and maybe the most crucial, be clear and specific.
Avoid being vague.
Absolutely. Don't make the AI guess. Remember that election example. Instead of just, when's the election?
You ask, when is the next presidential election for Poland?
Precisely. Details matter. Give it the specifics it needs.
Makes total sense. What else?
Tip 2, try adopting a persona. Ask the AI to act as someone.
Like that English teacher example.
Exactly. Act as a travel agent, act as a skeptical scientist, act as a marketing expert. This helps shape the tone, the style, even the focus of the answer.
That's clever. You're kind of steering its personality.
You are. It helps filter its knowledge effectively. And tip 3, specify the format you want the answer in.
Right. Like give me bullet points or a paragraph or a table.
Exactly. Don't just ask for a summary. Ask for, say, a 3-bullet-point summary, under 50 words total. Be explicit about the output structure.
Okay, so be clear and specific, use a persona, and specify the format. Those seem doable.
They're great starting points.
Now, you mentioned ChatGPT earlier. How can someone use that specific tool to, practice these skills?
ChatGPT is perfect for this because it's so accessible and conversational. You just type your prompt and hit enter.
Just jump in.
Pretty much. Start really simple. Ask it basic facts like what color is the sky or what is photosynthesis. Just get a feel for the interaction.
Okay, low stakes practice.
Exactly. Then try something practical, like summarizing. The ChatGPT guide suggested pasting in a paragraph. They used one about snow in Florida, which is unusual.
Right.
And just asking, summarize this paragraph. See what kind of concise summary it gives you back.
Okay, copy, paste, ask. Easy enough to try. Any other simple tasks?
You could try basic math. What is 17 times 32? See how it handles that. It's all about experimenting.
So it sounds like getting good at this isn't about finding one magic prompt formula.
Not at all. And that brings up a really key point. Prompt engineering is almost always an iterative process.
Meaning you try, see what you get, and then tweak it.
Exactly. Trial and error. You probably won't nail the perfect prompt on your first try, especially for complex things.
That's actually quite reassuring.
It should be. That Anthropic video mentioned thinking of it like having a mental restart button. Be ready to go back, look at the AI's response, figure out why it wasn't quite right, and then adjust your prompt.
Maybe add more context or change the instruction or specify the format differently.
All of the above. Go back and forth, refine. That interaction is the process of getting better results.
Okay, great. That feels less daunting. So just to quickly wrap up the key things we've covered in this first lesson on basic prompt engineering.
Sure. We established that prompt engineering is really fundamental for using generative AI well.
Right, and that clear, detailed, structured prompts get you much better results.
We looked at basic formats, questions, instructions, and the difference between zero-shot, just asking directly, and few-shot, providing examples.
We got those 3 practical tips. Be specific, use personas, specify the format.
Plus, using tools like ChatGPT to just practice and experiment.
And remembering it's okay to iterate, to try and refine.
Exactly. It's a learning process.
This has been super helpful. It definitely demystifies prompt engineering quite a bit.
Good. That was the goal, to give you a solid starting point and some things to try out.
So here's something to think about as we close. AI models are getting smarter all the time, right? How do you think our approach to guiding them, to prompting, will change? Will it become more about, I don't know, deeply understanding how the AI thinks? Or will it stay focused on us just getting better at explaining what we need?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Maybe think about how these basic skills we talked about today are the foundation for whatever comes next. And perhaps, use the resources we mentioned. Try writing a few simple prompts yourself. See what happens.
Definitely encourage experimentation. And thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the basics of prompt engineering. Hopefully, it's given you a clearer view and some practical first steps.
That concludes this deep dive into basic prompt engineering. To summarize, we've defined prompt engineering as the skill of crafting effective prompts for generative AI, highlighted its importance by showing how clear prompts lead to better results, explored basic prompt structures like questions and instructions, touched on zero-shot and few-shot prompting, provided beginner tips such as being clear and specific, adopting personas and specifying formats, and finally introduced ChatGPT as a tool for practice and emphasized the iterative nature of the process. Thank you for listening to The Deep Dive.